Hello parents, friends, family members, teachers, staff, and of course, fellow graduates. My name is Jillian Feverly, and it is my honor today, as this year's senior class president, to deliver a commencement speech for DelVal's class of 2020. Now, I'd like to start off by addressing the obvious. I know that the end of our senior year is unlike anything we could have possibly imagined, but what I have learned from all of this is the power of appreciation. I have learned to appreciate the little things, all that is given to us, everything that we have earned. I miss waking up with a schedule. I miss seeing my friends every day. I miss going out without having to worry. All of this time has made me realize what I take for granted and everything that we need to be thankful for. I have learned the importance of seizing opportunities, making each and every moment count, and always working to your fullest potential. The last 3 months have given me the time and ability to look back on the last 4 years and recognize the forever friends, mentors, memories, and experiences DelVal has given us. I have realized how quickly our lives are about to change and how impactful these last 4 years will be on our future. But first, instead of trying to fast forward to the next stages of our lives just yet, I would like to ask everyone to pause and look back on these unforeseen times, to use them as a reminder for how important it is to be thankful for every person that has come into our lives, and to cherish every moment spent with our loved ones. Now is not the time to dwell on the few events that we may have missed in the past few months, but to celebrate the memories that we have made and everyone we have met since starting as freshmen here at DelVal. I would like to thank each and every person that has helped us get to this point in our lives. I would like to thank the teachers and staff at DelVal, as I have been able to form connections with many of my teachers, and they have encouraged me to be the best version of myself, inside and outside of the classroom. Next, I would like to thank our families for their endless love and their constant support, for showing up to our games, our performances, our concerts, for giving us the strength and ability to accomplish all that we did, not only in the last 4 years, but the last 18. Finally, I would like to thank my friends and fellow graduates for making our high school experience so memorable. Each of us have formed our own friendships that will stay with us far longer than our high school years. Each and every one of you has given me a reason to be a proud DelVal graduate. Throughout the years, high school has given us some of the best moments of our lives up to this point. That could be winning the game you worked so hard for, stepping on the stage after months of preparation, getting an A on a test you studied for, freshman field day, painting up for the football games, being in the dog pound, meeting your best friends, eating lunch with your best friends, and graduating with your best friends. We will never forget those small moments that brought us so much happiness, and we will never forget the people with whom we shared them. I could not have asked for a better class to graduate with. I can't even believe it's over, but I know that this isn't the finish line. We're not even close. We're at the starting line. Although this is a moment full of joy and cheer, it is also pretty scary. We are about to start exploring our opportunities out in the world, whether that be college, traveling, working. The possibilities are endless. Whatever it is that we do next, there is one thing that is guaranteed. We are going to mess up and we are going to fail, but that is okay. There are going to be obstacles, there are going to be walls, and we are going to fall down. And it's not a matter of if, but when. I think that one of the most valuable lessons to be learned in high school is how to get around the obstacles, how to break down the walls, and how to get back up on your feet and try again. I look back on my freshman year and my supposed world-ending problems, and I laugh. I think that most of us have had similar journeys, where the things that seemed to matter so much at the start of high school would barely even seem like an issue now. That shows growth, and that shows strength. And we will continue to grow and become stronger as we move forward through our lives. We will learn the significance of persistence and determination. There is so much uncertainty in the world right now. No one can predict what is going to happen among all this chaos. But we all have a choice: to let this stop us, to let this take away our proudest moments and future chances, or we could change our outlook. We could see room for improvement. We could see possibilities, ways we can change to make our lives better and those around us. Today, we cross that starting line and step into our futures. And with that, I encourage us all to also step out of our comfort zones, to do something in your future that you never thought you would. Take risks and try new things. Don't take the easy path, the safe route. Do something that you have always wanted to and put your all into accomplishing your goals. Work hard, be smart, make the right decisions, appreciate everyone that supports your future. We all have the potential to be great, to be successful, and to make positive impacts on the lives around us. The best part is that we will all be able to trace it back to this moment, to DelVal, to this class, to right now. Before we say our final goodbyes, I would like to leave you with a quote by Ernie Harwell. He said, "It's time to say goodbye, but I think goodbyes are sad. I'd much rather say hello. Hello to a new adventure. Congratulations to the class of 2020, and good luck with all of your future endeavors. We did it. Thank you."
Hello everyone. Thank you for attending the Class of 2020 graduation. Thank you parents, thank you grandparents, thank you caregivers, thank you teachers, thank you administrators, thank you Ms. Olcott, thank you graduation committee, but most of all, thank you Class of 2020. When I sat down and thought about what I would write my speech about, I kept thinking of days that stood out to me in high school. Days where we were all together in a group going through the same thing. Days where we were all rooting against the same Navy team during freshman field day. Days where we were all waiting to get out of school to go to the Gold Rush match later that night. Or days where Mike Asperry stood up on a table and told us we were going to go home when we really weren't. Although these days did spark a memory for me, they didn't happen to be the two I decided to pick. September 6th, 2016. This first day I want to talk about was a great day for many. For me, this day was terrible. I got up way too late, rushed out of my house around 7 o'clock, and luckily was able to make it to school. As I entered Ceramics 1, I walked in, grabbed my seat, and as class began, I noticed that I was surrounded by no one I knew. There was not a single freshman in the class. Luckily, I knew a few of the older kids, but this was not ideal for me. Towards the end of class, Mr. Farnsworth handed out clay for us to play with to buy time before next period. I was sitting back, poking my clay, just playing with it, minding my own business, when all of a sudden, I was hit in the chest with a big piece of clay. I looked up to see an older kid across the table laughing at me, and I wasn't going to let that happen, so I picked the clay up and threw it right back at him. 2 minutes later, we were both sitting in Mr. Wright's office. If you didn't know, September 6, 2016 was also our first day of high school. This was not a good start for me. Mom, I'm sorry for hearing this for the first time. Please don't be mad at me. Luckily, I was able to bounce back here at DelVal and steered clear of the main office for the rest of my time here. Lately, our classes had to bounce back as well. March 12th, 2020. This day was not a good day for anyone. We all knew something was going to happen this week. We had heard about North and Voorhees shutting down for school due to COVID-19. We all knew it was inevitable that we would shut down as well. What we didn't see coming was that this would be the last day we would ever have at DelVal. I was sitting in my English class in third period that day when we got the news. I remember the class bursting into a panic. No one knew what was going on. There was rumors that we would be out for only a few weeks, others saying we'd be out forever. No one really knew what was going on. As this day came to a close, we were let out of class early to gather our things. I remember walking down the hall, watching kids flood into the band room, frantically grabbing instruments I had never seen before. Watching kids that were part of the musical cried as they hoped they'd be able to get their second weekend of performances. And watching athletes rip their lacrosse sticks and baseball bats out of their lockers, hoping they would be able to play their last game. So why did I choose this day? It'd be a lot funnier to talk about a day where, Aiden Cohen put on 16 sweatshirts and couldn't move his arms throughout the hallway, but I chose this day for a reason. This was the day I realized how far our class had came and how far our class was going to go. As a class, we have made history. DelVal had piloted distance learning days, and suddenly we were running school 5 days a week from our bedrooms. As seniors, this is not how we wanted things to go. We all wanted things that were taken from us. Prom, water wars, sports seasons, musicals, freshman field day. These were all things we wanted to happen. Instead, we stayed in our houses with our families when we did not want to and tried to make the most of this situation. As a class, we overcame COVID-19, and if we can do that, we can bounce back from any obstacle in our path. On the last day of school, I saw passion as I watched everyone leave the building. Passion for our hobbies, passions for our school, and most of all, passion for one another. I believe with this passion, our class is set to go great places and do great things. Through this, we've had to change the way we see and access the world. We are only stronger because of this. Congratulations, class of 2020. We've made history.
West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads. All my memories gather round her, Maya's lady, strangers to blue waters, dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads. I hear her voice in the morning, how she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. And driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads, country
I would like to acknowledge the retirees, Ron Mortensen, school bus driver, as well as cafeteria aide. You always had a smile on your face. You had a great rapport with the students, and you always had jokes for us and interesting tidbits, and we will definitely miss that. Nancy Brady, school nurse, thank you for remodeling the health office, getting our procedures all together. We'll miss your blonde, effervescent personality. Thanks for all you did for us and for the school. Ron Volpone, English teacher extraordinaire, stickler to details, SAT taskmaster. Thanks for all that you did for the students over the years. Jim Jones, excellent Spanish teacher. I always remember your scavenger hunts, and I never knew you had such a hidden talent in being a rapper that I learned when you used to participate in the school talent shows. Best wishes to you. Frank Gunther, you did a lot for the school. You'll always be known as the one who championed the special needs kids. You brought unified sports as well as best buddies to us. And with that, you personally taught me to take conflict head on. And I appreciate that because it could seem like a scary thing, but you taught me how to handle that, and I appreciate that. So to the retirees, best wishes. It's a big loss for us, and we appreciate all the time that you gave us. To the class of 2020, it's June 12th. It's your graduation, a moment of truth, a stepping stone into the real world. After 12 memorable years through the good, bad, idiotic, fun, and lots of changes, it's finally here. Your time to be in the spotlight and receive your diploma, a piece of paper that will remind you forever that you've accomplished something important. I cannot say that this year has been an easy one, not for the students, the parents, the teachers, the community, the administrators. We've all had to grow up within a few short months. You've traveled a rough road, experienced losses on all levels, and yet watched unbelievable courage on the front lines and saw leadership and compassion at its best. So where do we go from here? I'll begin by sharing a moment with you. I was picking white violets in my yard. They're rare and beautiful, but rather plain until I added some purple ones. So why did purple violets within the white add so much pizzazz to this tiny bouquet? Well, it's the same with people. We add dimension to one another. We need each other as much as we need the earth we share. Along with understanding complexities, nature can provide inspiration. Paul McCartney talked about riding his bike and seeing millions of rhododendron bushes on the roadsides. He said, "This is what I was writing about in Mother Nature's Son." It was basically a heartfelt song about child of nature learnings. Nature gives us deeper understandings and appreciations and offers solace in troubled times. Back in the 60s, the nation was in turmoil. Lee Harvey Oswald assassinated John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas. James Earl Ray shot Martin Luther King Jr. in Memphis, Tennessee. Sirhan Sirhan fatally wounded Robert Kennedy at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. The Vietnam War raged on. The National Guard killed 4 Kent State College students at a demonstration in Ohio. What helped us cope? Music can play an important role in a nation's healing. The Beatles were an English rock band formed in Liverpool in 1960 with a lineup comprising of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. They left London on February 7, 1964, and arrived at JFK at 1:20 p.m. to scenes that were never seen before. The Beatles are here. 5,000 fans, mostly young girls, were crowded in the upper balcony of the airport's arrivals building, waving placards and banners and screaming. Today, they're regarded as one of the most influential bands of all time. Their title of their 1967 hit was "All You Need Is Love." Its message corresponded to the war in Vietnam. Today, we face global terrorism, violence in Iraq and Afghanistan, among other hot zones. Recently, you've witnessed protests and riots in cities across America. This is still one of the best messages out there. John Lennon said, "We've got this gift of love, but love is like a precious plant. You can't just accept it and leave it in the cupboard or just think it's going to get on by itself. You have to keep watering it. And you've got to really look after it and nurture it." Relationships need love, but they also take work. And this is especially relevant to easing racial tensions in the world today. We need to see humanity at its best. Ringo Starr, the drummer of the group, said the same thing. We were honest with each other, and we were honest about the music. The music was positive. It was positive in love. We all wrote about other things, but the basic Beatles message was love. Awesome. George Harrison, the lead guitarist, was frustrated dealing with his bandmates and handling the finances of the group. He asked for a day off. He spent it in the garden with his friend, Eric Clapton. Thrilled by the sudden appearance of the sun, Harrison composed what would become one of the Beatles' best-known songs, "Here Comes the Sun." George Harrison's good friend Tom Petty said about "Here Comes the Sun" in an interview for the Rolling Stones magazine, "No piece of music can make you feel better than this. It's such an optimistic song with that little bit of ache in it that makes the happiness mean even more." Today, in hospitals across the country, the Beatles classic is being pumped through public address systems to boost the spirits of nurses and doctors. At the Robert Wood Johnson Hospital, the staff lined up in the hall and played it for their 500th patient to recover from the COVID-19 virus. The message is especially relevant to all of you, our DelVal seniors, the class of 2020. George Harrison said, "Now is the time to look forward, focus on the things that bring us happiness. Also, all the world is a birthday cake, so take a piece, but not too much. I dedicate this song to you. Here Comes the Sun." Mrs. Wasserback, by the power vested in me as principal of Delaware Valley Regional High School and on behalf of the faculty, I'm pleased and proud to certify that the members of the class present this morning have successfully completed the graduation requirements as defined by the statute in the Administrative Code of the State of New Jersey and the policies of the Delaware Valley Regional High School District Board of Education. Congratulations, class of 2020.
Delaware Valley Regional High School, class of 2020. Congratulations, you've made it. Before we move on, as is tradition, I would like to take a brief moment to acknowledge a select few of our graduates who have chosen to serve our country. Joshua Adams, Army. Mackenzie Fothrop, Navy ROTC, Tampa. Jamie Janetsko, Army ROTC, Clemson. Andrew Larson, Army Reserves, Purdue. And Andrew Marino, Army. Thank you all for your dedication, commitment, and willingness to serve. Well, class, this certainly is a first. When we began planning the 1920 school year, I was already thinking ahead to this speech. What an amazing time to graduate. We would have just celebrated our Diamond Jubilee Jamboree, all of your special end-of-year activities, and honoring your graduation 60 years after DelVal graduated the very first class. And the year, 2020. Think of what this signifies. Sight, vision, looking to the future. It's a perfect blend. The class of 2020, past, present, and future. However, as poet Robert Burns reminds us, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry, the least of which being my plans for this speech. So now what? Do I ignore what transpired this year and attempt to provide you with somewhat typical words of advice? How can I? This all just happened, and we need to address it. This has been a time like no other. And now, these last few months do not constitute your entire high school career. We know that. But we also know that it's the last thing you're going to remember about DelVal. We know that so much of your senior year has been unfairly taken from you. We see your disappointment, your uncertainty. We understand the heartbreak. We tell each other and ourselves that it's okay not to be okay in the midst of all of this. We all have our own ways of coping during difficult times, be it a personal dilemma or a global health crisis. For me, I acknowledge the fear, the loss, the anger, the feelings of helplessness. Then I look for the lessons, the gratitude, and the silver linings to help me through. So the lessons. Over the last 3 months, I've learned that there are truly things that are beyond our control. And while we cannot control those things, we can control how we respond to them. And this is where our strength lies. Will we persevere despite it all? Or will we succumb to despair? That choice is ours. And I choose to persevere, even thrive. I've learned that human beings will rise in a crisis. How much do we now appreciate our healthcare workers, first responders, food pantry donors, mask makers, grocery, delivery, postal workers, and all of the other everyday heroes who kept our altered world going these last several months. I've learned how amazingly adaptive and talented DelVal teachers and students are. DelVal teachers were able to take a DLD initiative that was to last 3 days and convert it into a successful 3-month new model of instruction. I am awed by their professionalism and their care and concerns for you, their students. The gratitude. Over the last 3 months, I am so grateful for those of you who gave your very best every day, even when it was not your very best day. To your families, many of whom became teachers for the first time throughout the closure, who stood by your side through your disappointments, who encouraged and supported you through your struggles. To our teachers, for seeing you all through while addressing their own families' needs. They never stopped worrying about whether or not they were doing enough for you. And for the opportunity of getting to know each other on a more personal level. We essentially welcomed one another into our respective homes, barking dogs, nudging cats, snuggly toddlers and all. And I believe we're all the better for it. Most importantly, I'm grateful for you. And although I must also add pride to my gratitude. Your resilience and stay-the-course attitude has gotten you through one of the most difficult and unprecedented challenges. Despite the disappointments, you made it to this point. And our silver linings. Over the last 3 months, silver linings have appeared in the time spent at home with precious family, educational creativity and innovation unlike we've ever experienced before, and the plans for celebrating the class of 2020, especially graduation. You are not forgotten. Never has a district, or a nation for that matter, come together in such a way to recognize a class. Special tributes, social media shout-outs, videos, adopt-a-senior programs, non-traditional graduation ceremonies, signs, banners, parades, and home visits. We hope you feel the love in all of this. So class of 2020, you are a part of history. And while this does not and will not define you, it will be forever a part of who you are. Now you have a story to tell, and I hope you, as you tell yours, you will also consider the lessons that you've learned, what you are grateful for, and the silver linings that have emerged for you in all of this. I believe we'll come out better and stronger on the other side. The graduates, on behalf of the DelVal family, again, I offer heartfelt congratulations. It has been a pleasure, and we could not be any prouder of each and every one of you. So without further ado, on behalf of the Board of Education and district leadership, I am proud to present the Delaware Valley Regional High School graduating class of 2020.
Everybody's free. Everybody's free. Everybody's free. Everybody's free. Everybody's free. To feel good. To feel good.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2020.
Wear sunscreen. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proved by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. Oh, never mind. You will not understand the power and beauty of your youth until they've faded. But trust me, in 20 years, you'll look back at photos of yourself and recall in a way you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you and how fabulous you really looked. Don't worry about the future, or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubblegum. The real troubles in your life are apt to be things that never crossed your worried mind, the kind that blindsides you at 4 p.m. on some idle Tuesday. Do one thing every day that scares you. Sing. Don't be reckless with other people's hearts. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Floss. Don't waste your time on jealousy. Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind. The race is long, and in the end, it's only with yourself. Remember compliments you receive. Forget the insults. If you succeed in doing this, tell me how. Keep your old love letters. Throw away your old bank statements. Stretch. Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. The most interesting people I know didn't know at 22 what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't. Get plenty of calcium. Be kind to your knees. You'll miss them when they're gone. Maybe you'll marry, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have children, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll divorce at 40. Maybe you'll dance the funky chicken on your 75th wedding anniversary. Whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much, or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance. So are everybody else's. Enjoy your body. Use it every way you can. Don't be afraid of it or what other people think of it. It's the greatest instrument you'll ever own. Dance. even if you have nowhere to do it but in your own living room. Read the directions, even if you don't follow them. Do not read beauty magazines. They will only make you feel ugly.
Brother and sister, together we'll make it through. Someday a spirit will take you and guide you there. I know you've been hurting, but I've been waiting to be there for you. And I'll be there just helping you out whenever I can. Everybody's free. Everybody's free. Oh, yeah, yeah. Everybody's free. Everybody's free. Oh, yeah. To feel good. Oh, to feel good.
Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Be nice to your siblings. They're your best link to your past and the people most likely to stick with you in the future. Understand that friends come and go, but with a precious few, you should hold on. Work hard to bridge the gaps in geography and lifestyle, because the older you get, the more you need the people you knew when you were young. Live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Northern California once, but leave before it makes you soft. Travel. Accept certain inalienable truths. Prices will rise, politicians will philander, you too will get old. And when you do, you'll fantasize that when you were young, prices were reasonable, politicians were noble, and children respected their elders. Respect your elders. Don't expect anyone else to support you. Maybe you have a trust fund. Maybe you'll have a wealthy spouse. But you never know when either one might run out. Don't mess too much with your hair, or by the time you're 40, it will look 85. Be careful whose advice you buy, but be patient with those who supply it. Advice is a form of nostalgia. Dispensing it is a way of fishing the past from the disposal, wiping it off, painting over the ugly parts, and recycling it for more than it's worth. But trust me on the sunscreen.
Brother and sister, together we'll make it through. Oh, yeah. Someday a spirit will take you and guide you there. I know you've been hurting, but I've been waiting to be there for you. And I'll be there just helping you out whenever I can. Yeah, everybody's free. Oh, yeah. Everybody's free. Oh, yeah. Oh, to feel good. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads take me home to the place I belong.